Happy Friday, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Christine Davis, the Vice Chair of Urban Confluence Silicon Valley. And as a longtime resident of downtown San Jose, I'm very excited to have this great honor, actually, to serve my community in this historic project. And being that I've been downtown for 35 years, I really think this is a game changer for the city and for Silicon Valley. Today is our second of 4 community meetings since the 3 finalists presented their very impressive and refined designs to the jury on January the 30th. I hope that all of you on today have had time to watch those. We will give you the videos in just a few minutes. But I'd like to say that from the inception, these community meetings like today have been one of our very most important outreach efforts. It's really important for us to hear from the community. And so our goal today is to give you a lot of great information, some you might have heard before and some that you have not, so that would be very valuable for you, and do it in a very efficient manner, being respectful of your time. I want to discuss some protocols that we will have for today. And those will be that we will not be using the chat function, okay? We will be using the Q&A function for all of your questions to be heard, and we will answer them from there. We are recording this session, and as we start, I would like to introduce 2 very important relationships to Urban Confluence project. And we've asked them to speak briefly today. First is Nicole Burnham. She's from the San Jose City Parks, Recs, and Neighborhood Services. And then directly following Nicole will be Jody Starberg. She's the past president of Guadalupe River Park Conservancy, and she's also one of our very esteemed jurors. So Nicole, would you like to take the reins here?
Sure. Thanks, Christine. Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Burnham. As Christine said, Deputy Director. I oversee capital programs and park planning for the City of San Jose Department of Parks, Recreation, Neighborhood Services. I've been working with the Urban Confluence team since late 2017 as they have evaluated different sites where this icon might be located or might fit within our park system. And wow, we've come a long way. We've spent a lot of time together over the last 3 or 4 years working through concepts and designs and process for how this project might move forward. So I'm pleased to be here and pleased to hear from all of you. We do care. I will echo what Christine said. You know, I'm intrigued. I won't be able to stay for this whole meeting today, but I will listen to the recordings afterwards. And I'm looking forward to hear community reactions and input to the project. I think we all are. And so welcome. I hope you. I hope to hear from all of you. With that, I'll kick it to Jody.
Thanks, Nicole. And I'm going to echo a lot of what Nicole just said. I am Jody Starberg from the Board of Directors of the Guadalupe River Park Conservancy. We are the city's nonprofit partner in the activation and development of the Guadalupe River Park. Arena Green, the proposed location for the Urban Confluence project, is one of the downtown parks within our sphere of influence. As such, we have been active stakeholders in the Urban Confluence process. I've been involved at least since Nicole has, perhaps a little bit earlier. But you know, as stakeholders, it's really important that we get the voice of the community. That's something that has been important to this entire group as we've moved through this process. So we really want to thank you for your participation today, and we fervently hope and believe that public input into this process is vital and very, very important. So express your preferences, tell us your input. And I can tell you as a member of the jury that I and the other jurists really welcome this input and the comments as we move forward in the selection process. So again, thank you very much for your participation.
Thanks, Jody. Thanks, Nicole. You have been great partners and continue all the way through the completion of this project. Next, I'd like to also acknowledge John Ball, who is one of the founding board members of San Jose Light Tower. He's also the board chair for Urban Confluence Silicon Valley, and also a juror. And John could not be with us today, but he's there in spirit as always. And now I'd like to turn the program over to Steve Borgenhagen, who is also one of the founding members of the San Jose Light Tower Corporation and a current board member and the executive director of our program and Urban Confluence. But I gotta tell you, Steve, I call him the walking encyclopedia of this project. And so without further ado, Steve, I just want you to take it over and give them the information that we want to share today.
Thank you, Christine. And I want to thank Christine as being a great board member and a great partner and an almost full-time volunteer. People like Christine and John Ball don't come along very often who are willing to give of themselves financially and their time the way that they do. So Christine, thank you as always.
You're welcome.
I also want to thank Jody and Nicole as being great partners. Our project is a team effort across many sectors. Jody, at our community meeting a couple of years ago, made it clear that she was going to be the environmental police. And that phrase always struck with me. And Jody, I think you've done a wonderful job of guiding us there, and thank you for that. And Nicole's just been a really great partner, especially for me. She and I are sort of the boots on the ground, and we talk all the time. And without Nicole's help, there's no way we would be where we are today. So Nicole, thank you also. And finally, the man in the other picture is Mike Hubert, who is the guy behind the curtain that makes all of our technology work. So Mike, thank you as always for being a great friend and partner. So our project, Urban Confluence, has a mission to build an artistically inspired iconic landmark. It's a bold goal that we have. We fervently believe in it. The whole point of our project came from John and me and Christine and others having this feeling that Silicon Valley and San Jose were without an identifiable physical landmark, and we intend to change that. And so there's a lot of detail here, and I won't go through all of it, but I will try to give you a high-level view of who we are and what we're doing. Also, the idea of a destination that's both for locals and visitors from around the world. We think we have a unique opportunity here at Arena Green. We've had some people ask us in the time of COVID, why would you do something that's an artistic architectural landmark? It's not appropriate due to the times. We thought hard and long about this, and we really believe that art and beauty matter now more than ever. As people are cloistered in their homes, we're all thinking about what's going to happen after COVID. And so we're on a long quest. This whole project will probably end up taking us 7 years. And when we're done and COVID is done, we're all going to want to be outside and be seeing beautiful objects. And we want this park to be a world-class park, really unlike anything in the world, but very beautiful and a must-see place of hope, healing, and connection as we have here on the slide. An important point is that this is going to be a gift to the city. So we are going to raise the money. At the end of the day, we're going to give this as a gift to the city. And then the operations and maintenance we'll discuss a little bit later, but the city will own it. It's in a park. The city will always own the park. The park will always be a park with a beautiful object in it, owned by the city. How it's operated, we can't know yet. We'll figure that out with our partners at the city and the Conservancy and others after we have a winning design. The design evaluation criteria are here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but suffice it to say that the jury has very, very firm criteria that they use to evaluate the 3 submittals. And they're the same criteria that were used to evaluate the original 1,000 or so submittals that we received. Arena Green was chosen out of a site selection study that took us about a year. Steinberg Hart did it for us. It was done by a third party, and Arena Green was clearly identified as the superior site. We studied all the large sites around downtown San Jose, and I'm really happy we ended up at Arena Green for many reasons. Without money, we would be nowhere. We've raised about $2.5 million so far from a whole bunch of really generous donors. We've got the better part of 400 donors. This is a list of our largest donors, but for us to be successful, we need large donors, we need small donors, we need all types of donors. And over the next couple of years, we will be raising lots of money, hopefully from thousands and thousands of citizens from around the world who believe in our vision. I can't overstate the importance of partner organizations. We have monthly meetings with virtually all of these groups and organizations listed on here. It begins with the mayor and the council. Again, ultimately, we will give this as a gift to the city. And the mayor and the council have been very supportive, asked us a lot of hard questions, and I think we've done a pretty good job answering them. I've already talked about the Conservancy and the city staff. County's been very generous with us, and all these other partner organizations we meet with on a regular basis, and we all help one another because we share the vision of wanting to make Arena Green a spectacular part of the Guadalupe River Park. We mentioned the jury earlier. There are 14 people, including Jody Starbird and John Ball. John Cicerelli is the head of Parks and Rec and is also on the jury. John's been a really valuable contributor, and you can see all of these people in their bios on our website if you like. You'll see this is a first-rate group of people who are brilliant in their own fields and are a great group. As they work together, they really push one another to get the answer right. They'll be meeting again on March 6th to rank the 3 finalists. Some say our competition was the most successful in the world in 2020. We'd like to think so. There's really no objective way to measure that, but we got over 1,000 submittals, and of those 963 were qualified. The jury and Christine and John's on the jury, but Christine also went through all 963 submissions, as did John Ball. The average juror looked at 700 of the submittals, which is almost unheard of when people serve on juries. So I just want to point out what hard work that they did and they continue to do. So these 3 finalists now are the last ones left and will be evaluated by the jury on March 6th. I want to explain though that the submissions were all anonymous. The jury members did not know the identity of anyone. We've gotten some questions about why was there no local finalist among the 3? Well, there could have been 3 local. As it turned out, there were none. The finalists were actually born in Japan, China, and Spain, but that was all on the merit of their submissions. And I can't stress enough how fervently we believe in spectacular public spaces being at the heart of great communities around the world. And we think this is a weakness in our downtown now, and we intend to solve that by creating a really great public space that would be the go-to place for all of us when we go downtown. Our timeline appears here. Phase 1 ended last year. We are in phase 2 now, which will culminate at City Council, hopefully on May 4th, with the council validating the rankings of the jury. The jury will be meeting on March 6th, as I mentioned. Then we'll continue into pre-development and then development. You can see all of these different phases. There's a lot of work to be done over the next few years. Excuse me, not the least of which is holding a capital campaign to raise a vast amount of money to build this magnificent structure. So our vision is to give the largest gift in the history of the city of San Jose to the citizens of San Jose. We really believe that we made the right decision in going this route and wanting to give this gift. Again, the park will always be a park. The money will be raised privately, not from the city. We will not have a negative impact on public services, including feeding the hungry and housing the homeless and other important basic needs that the city and other government agencies take care of. Our location is really fantastic, and it actually ended up getting better and better over time. When we first started, we really didn't know about all the developments that were going to happen right next to Arena Green. I'm sure you all know about the Google Downtown West project, Diridon Station, BART. Those are all right next door to Arena Green. J. Paul has 2 massive developments within just a couple of blocks. Adobe is building within vision of Arena Green. The Sharks have great plans, and there are many other big developers, not the least of which is our friend Gary Dillabo, building many beautiful developments in downtown. So we work with all of those people as partners because downtown is really going through a massive revolution right now that's going to end up in I believe, being an urban center far beyond in quality where we are today. And I'm really excited about that. I've lived here my whole life. I've lived downtown for the better part of 50 years, and I care about our city, and I'm really excited about this next step with all these great amenities that are being built, including our project. Before you ask lots of questions in the Q&A, at our first community meeting that we had a couple of days ago, many of the questions were about the bullets on this slide. So I want to go through them quickly, but let you know that riparian corridor protection, including the flora and the fauna, the birds, the fish, et cetera, is front and center in our work. We've worked with nature consultants in the past. We will continue to do so. We have Katya Urban from the Sierra Club on our jury. This is something we take very seriously. So if you have any comments or advice for us in that regard, anytime, please email or call me. The project will be net zero, so it's energy responsible. Security and safety will be handled. In some of the renderings, you'll see things that make you cringe, possibly, where it looks like someone could jump off or other bad things could happen. We are going to be dealing with that in phase 3. Just remember that this is a work in progress, and a lot of the heavy lifting on the design will happen in phase 3, which will begin after City Council approval in May. ADA compliance and elevators are something that are part of what we're going to do. We will go through an entire EIR CEQA process. So whatever laws and rules there are around development, we will follow all of them. A lot of questions were around park activation and the master planning of the park, of Arena Green and of the Guadalupe River Park writ large. We will be working with many partners. We're not on our own doing this. So again, back to the city, the Conservancy, and many others, we will work with all of them around park activation. We know the park has indoor and outdoor potential. Structures could be built in addition to the landmark. Parts of our landmark could be indoors, bars, restaurants, etc. And daytime and nighttime both matter a lot. You'll see in the submittals that a lot of them focus on the magnificent lighting at night, but daytime matters too. So we will be working through that in phase 3. We will take very seriously operations and maintenance, including cleaning. We will not want to build something beautiful and plop it in the park and go away and have it become maintained in an improper way. So just know that we're serious about that. We may end up with an endowment that funds that. We're not sure yet. We will develop that during phase 3. The Children's Carousel, which has been closed for, I'm going to say, decades, a long time. No one knows the status of that. There's been some talk about moving it near the Rotary Play Garden, which might be totally logical given that 500,000 or so families and children every year go there. But the carousel may end up staying also. So before you ask lots of questions about it, I'll just tell you that no one knows what's going to happen with the carousel. Every discussion about improving our downtown ends up being a discussion about the homeless problem. And our team, Christine, John, and I, everyone we work with is extremely heartbroken and conscious about this homeless problem. We will work on it as partners, but this is a much larger problem than the Urban Confluence can solve. And it's also a much wider problem than just at Arena Green. So suffice it to say, we care about it. We want to be part of the solution, but we don't know what the solution is. But just know we are going to work hard on that as we work through our next phases. With that, Mike Hubert's going to queue up competition videos. This will take approximately 15 minutes. And then after that, we'll get into the answering of your questions.
Welcome to Wonderland is a realization of surreal literature. The experience transports you into a fictional character that challenges your cognitive ability. Silicon Valley has long been known for pushing boundaries in technology.
The Welcome to Wonderland team is incredibly special. Companies that make up our team have experience designing and building complex and iconic structures around the globe.
The multi-scaled flora is packed into a huge figurative imaginary box measuring 100 feet wide by 225 feet long and 200 feet high.
The structural system of Wonderland is a fusion of traditional framing integrated with an organically geometric composition of support for the gigantic flora. The entire biome of Wonderland is anchored to the earth at the central elevator and stair tower through a structural steel braced frame system.
We have analyzed the constructability of the piece and have proved out the elements required to execute this immersive experience.
一口に白って言っても実際はいろいろな白が世の中に存在していて、例えば白の濃淡や明暗の色合いだったり、特に素材本来が持つ色合いや質感、そういったものを再認識した上で慣れ親しんだ日常的なものを非日常的なものとして表現する。
Wonderland pushes the envelope of structural creations. A number of materials will be used to fabricate the various flora. The materials will deliver slightly varied textures, especially in close proximity to the sculpture. Materials used at grade and within patron spaces will have softer edging conditions.
Our team has looked at every aspect of the project, from meeting building codes to stair towers and structural systems. So it is safe and secure. We have explored multiple material finish options and confirmed longevity and maintainability.
We envision Riche as a caretaker of not only the opening day experience for the people of San Jose, but the ongoing experiences of the many generations to come.
The experience is the intertwining between two different worlds. The juxtaposition of artificial nature against real nature allows you to dream or rethink the familiar world in a fantastic new way.
An organic structural frame springs from the traditional framing to emulate the stems, sepals, and styles of the flora. The biomimicry provides for a seamless integration of the structural system with the artistic vision. The three components of the structural system, the braced frame core, the floor and ramp framing, and the organic flora structural support system, are tied together as a unified whole to resist the environmental and seismic forces that Wonderland will need to resist.
Wonderland entices and invites you to explore. Like Alice, you become curiouser and curiouser.
In the novel Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Alice says, being so many different sizes in a day is very confusing. As you move deeper inside, the oversized flower imparts a feeling that you are physically growing smaller with every step you take. The flora relates to each other by touching, leaning, and intertwining to produce a multitude of spatial qualities and experiences.
Our project protects the riparian corridor and meets the goal of net zero.
Our approach to net zero starts by sustainable design. We want to get to zero by first looking at conservation and efficiency before reviewing on-site renewables and purchasing renewable energy credits and carbon offsets.
While this project shows its ingenuity in stillness during the daytime, it transforms its artificial nature into a vibrant, colorful bouquet at night.
Projection brings the biome to life via digital canvas of over 55 million pixels across the east side of the sculpture. Images of creatures, animated textures, and visual effects combined with localized audio will surprise and excite guests.
Projection mapping on the exterior brings the flora to life with dynamic colors and textures.
As the sun sets, Welcome to Wonderland awakens a world of color. The bottom of the sculpture gradually illuminates, reaching upwards until it's entirely engulfed in color.
on the interior, larger than life hologram creatures allows you to experience an enjoyable and yet slightly unsettling environment.
Welcome to Wonderland is poised to become a global icon, and the nighttime lighting experience will not only rival the lighting of icons around the world, but may also inform how they might look in the 21st century and beyond.
Once you've been to Wonderland, you will always remember the sensation of being in a magical world. Returning to your ordinary world will never be the same.
Welcome to Wonderland is a local landmark, but sets the stage to become a worldwide sensation.
When we think about a contemporary landmark, we are envisioning something that connects the future and the past, something that recalls our emotion of the places and represents the identity of the city. A nebula is a massive cloud of dust and gas between stars acting as a nursery for new stars. What we need today for a city is not a monolithic monument, but something we can engage, something soft, ever-changing, and adaptable. As a great historical icon, the old San Jose Light Tower rendered the visionary courage of the pioneers of the city. Although the city is depicted as a tech-innovation hub today, we would like to remind people that our city is built and evolved from generation to generation. Here, the traditional characteristic of a light tower as a figure is inverted into a spatial void. How we behold it becomes more nebulous. It's like your memories. They may look ambiguous, they may fade away, but they will unfold at a certain moment. Our hope for the Nebula Tower is to bring time and light together and to create a hybrid prototype of diversity. It's an inverted tower and an arched gate. It's an arena for civic space and an observatory for the city. It's a structured vessel for lighting and a canvas for all artists. Our collective memory and our imagination are the bridges of our innovative spirit and our city. And those are what enable us to transcend the time and explore things beyond the boundaries.
Thank you, Mike. We are now in the Q&A phase, so please post questions if you have any. I noticed Jennifer Wilson says this is going to be amazing. I love it. Christine and I certainly agree. We are trying to build something amazing. But again, please post questions. While you're doing that, I'll make a few comments, and Christine, please interrupt me if you'd like to. The question of why there is no existing physical artistic landmark in San Jose and Silicon Valley, and this would be defining Silicon Valley as not including San Francisco, because clearly San Francisco has a number of world-class landmarks. But it's an interesting question to try to answer, and I think part of the answer is that in the last 50 years or so during the Silicon Valley phase, most of the money that's been spent on buildings have been spent on corporate structures that are inward facing instead of outward facing. We are obviously trying to build something that is completely outward facing. We're trying to really democratize art and architecture and beauty. If you think about the parts of our society that are free to everyone and we all can enjoy equally, outdoor art comes to mind, along with libraries, certainly our public schools. So we think that sharing beautiful outdoor experiences in parks in particular is really an important part of city building and placemaking, and that's what we're trying to do. We have a question about the completion year of the project. We can't know that until after phase 2 ends, which, as I said earlier, should be in early May with what we hope is council approval. But it'll take a few years. Likely the whole process starting in this May would probably be about approximately 3 years. But again, until we know the winning design, we can't be any more specific about that. Christine, do you want to add anything right now?
No, I would just like to say it sure was nice to see the first thing come up, not a question, but a statement. And again, Jennifer, thank you very much for that, because as the last 3.5 years, Steve, John, and I, and many, many others, our advisory council, the emerging leaders, the jury, and all the different professionals that we've hired as we've been, developing everything, it really feels good. And when I look at those videos each time, there's chills that I get just thinking about the development and hearing those words. Jennifer, it's going to be amazing, because it will be amazing.
Thank you, Christine. A question is, the city is proposing a series of large digital billboards along freeways and in public spaces throughout downtown. Can you speak to how this plan might affect your project? I don't know about that plan yet, but I can tell you that we are also studying digital monetization, digital billboards, et cetera, for our project, also educational opportunities at Arena Green. And we plan to work with anybody who has plans like that. So what I'm hoping will happen is that we would be a part of a wider group that's working on digital signage in and around downtown, along with other ways to simply make our downtown function in a way that's better than it has in the past.
Next question about all 3 structures will allow public to walk to their highest levels. The question, yes, they will. Part of our vision was that you can take that walk at whatever structure it is, the ramps, the stairs, but in addition to that, there will be elevators. Some have more elevators than others. And again, in phase 3, as Steve articulated in an earlier part of our presentation today, that will, be much more defined in phase 3, but you will be able to walk all the way up to the highest level at whatever that is of the structure.
And to expand on what Christine said, everything will be fully accessible. Again, we will be following all rules and laws related to ADA and any other building standards that exist. I want to make a point about timing and context. I alluded to it earlier, but we are really lucky that the Google project is going right now. In fact, it may end up being approved by City Council within a week or two after we go to City Council. And we are excited to work with Google and all the other big developers downtown. I mentioned a number of them earlier, but the reason timing matters is that there's an immense amount of financial resources that are going to be going to downtown San Jose in a way unlike any other time in the history of the city. And so we feel like we can be a partner with all of them in building something beautiful and creating a better urban experience than we've had in the past. At the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. That urban parks have a different role from suburban parks, and particularly from rural parks that are large. We walk around in the forest, and it's an incredibly important part of our lives. But urban parks are different. We can punctuate our busy days by going to have a sandwich or an ice cream or beer and wine or whatever we might want. And we're really excited to do that and to work with all of these partners that I mentioned earlier. Another really critical partner is Valley Water. The water district is responsible for the river and the creek, and we've started to meet with them. We want to help them any way we can in making the riparian area a bit cleaner, better, functioning better, more beautiful, more accessible, and we're going to work diligently on that throughout the next phases that we have. I want to talk for a moment again about activation of the park. We did not demand that the 3 finalists have full activation strategies during phase 2. So we did not get them. There are ideas about it. You probably all noticed bridges in those videos. We think bridges could be a really critical part of unifying the park. Right now we have Arena Green West and Arena Green East, and there is no bridge connecting but the 2 sides. There is a bridge that goes from Arena Green West to Confluence Point. When it was originally designed, there was going to be a bridge from Confluence Point to Arena Green East, but it was never built. So at least a couple of the submittals have large bridges that go from the north end of Arena Green West to East, and we think that could be a really critical functional aspect of the park improvements. And there could end up being some kind of amphitheater on the east side that faces the landmark. And so we're really excited to work on activation strategies with other entities that have control or interest in the park, like Little Italy, Spur, Sharks, etc.
This next question about the truly amazing designs, but San Jose's history did not begin when our technology started to grow. Our history includes indigenous people and an origin center. Was that considered? In our original brief, we allowed any submitter to use their imagination. There was criteria, of course, that we wanted. And, originally we started with the San Jose Light Tower to rebuild something like that. But as we grew into the project, that became not what we were asking for. And as Steve mentioned earlier, I personally reviewed all 963, and actually it was 1,019 submissions, 963 of those qualified. And it's quite an interesting education. If you have time, take some time, but it is very worth it. Actually a lot better than a lot of things on Netflix right now. But to go through those 963 submissions, there were many of them that addressed exactly what you're talking about here in lots of different areas of the history of San Jose. It was up to the juror, and as Steve and I both were observers during the jury process to eliminate, to come up with the 3 finalists, there was a lot of discussion about that. And it was actually very interesting that the San Jose Light Tower, which we said wasn't a criteria that it had to be another light tower, was indeed within 2 of the top 3 submissions as part of the history. So the answer to that is yes, that was all considered. And the jury, I thought, did an excellent job of all the different criteria, but still to select something that our community could embrace as not only what we were, but who we are and what we can be. And that's to look to the future.
And I appreciate the question about history, because in our outline of what we're going to be working on when we get to the activation phase in phase 3, the threads of history and possible docents and other aspects of local history, including around indigenous people, these are all things that we have on our to-do list for phase 3. You might know, but there's some indigenous related artworks on Confluence Point right now. And so working with all of the elements that already exist in the park is another element of good design. Any designer will say that you have to work within the site. And one of the site constraints is Confluence Point and what's there already, along with the 5 Skaters Monument that will stay where it is.
As well as the Vietnam Memorial.
That's exactly right. Does the project include spaces for outdoor performances? Very good question. Not specifically yet, but we think performances outdoors should be a really important part of the phase 3 activation design for the entire Arena Green site. There have been talks about amphitheaters. Many of you probably know that Arena Green is already the place where large rallies of various kinds happen, also big cultural events, whether it's Italian Festa or anything else. There aren't a lot of spaces. In fact, there are no spaces as big as the spaces in Arena Green and throughout the Guadalupe River Park to have large events with many thousands of people. So an amphitheater is something we will be considering in phase 3, and having a place where we can have performances of many kinds is really important. It's completely logical that it would happen in the park. Our friends at Little Italy have been interested in possibly having bocce courts. That's something that could happen. Again, I mentioned our stakeholder partners earlier. We meet with them monthly, and we all are trying to work together to have lots of elements in the park that lead to really more joy in our lives and a better and better urban experience.
You know, can I add to that too, Steve? As someone who is loves to put on events and been involved with that, I just like to say, if you again look to the our website to look at the detail of each of these 3 presentations, you'll find that each one of the designers in this phase 2 portion of the development and refinement of their design have included public space that could be for events or musical, you know, performances and stuff like that. And again, all of that will be developed within phase 3. Some of them are indoor, some outdoor, some underneath, some on top. So it's really a lot of detail in the actual presentation, both visual and on paper.
You all probably noticed the piano that was sitting outside of the Breeze of Innovation structure in its video, and that I thought was a really elegant little accent. But I can totally imagine having a piano there with daily lunchtime concerts, as well as much bigger things later in the day. I want to point out that our website has a vast amount of information, not the least of which is what Christine mentioned of the 963 submissions. You can look at them very quickly or slowly. There's a lot of really excellent ideas that were submitted. I would say we had the better part of 200 submittals that could easily have been one of the 3 finalists. We really had a wealth of riches there, and we were lucky to have it. I will point out we worked incredibly hard and spent a lot of money in promoting the phase 1 competition. So we were thrilled that we got 1,000 submissions, but it didn't happen accidentally. It was based on a lot of hard work that we did. Christine, do you want to review the items on the slide, or would you like me to do that?
No, I'll go ahead. First of all, just want to again reiterate that the importance of these community meetings, and these are of course, Friday is today, the 12th. Our next 2, Thursday, February 18th, and this one will be from 5 to 6 p.m. And then the last is Monday, March 22nd from 6 to 7 p.m. Now that will be after the jury has made their decision, but also that will be a very important community meeting, as we will know the top rankings. So we ask that, you know, again, send this out to your friends, your coworkers, lots of other people that you know, because we need to touch as many lives as we can. It's real important to the success of this project, not only today, when we, you know, have a winner, and when we go to the city council for approval of that, and then as we march forward, your input is really important to the success of this. You know, as we push and push for, you know, completion of it, you got to pull together as a community, and the community is vast, it's committed, it's rich with knowledge and expertise. So we just encourage as much of that as you can help us with. Again, the finalists, we talk about, those presentations are online, as well as all of the 962 submittals. And the website is very easy to maneuver yourself around in. Another area here that we haven't really talked about, but our first community meeting that was a couple of days ago, the whole meeting is being transcribed into Vietnamese as well as Spanish, and will be on the website. But if there's any other accommodations that are needed for yourself or someone, please let us know, because we want this to be a totally inclusive project. And so if there's some special needs that you want to request, please let us know, and we'll accommodate those to the best of our ability. Again, the recordings of each one of these will be on our website. So if you missed one or you want to go back and review them, you can, excuse me, do all of that there. There will be an ongoing community outreach And it doesn't mean that we're going to be necessarily just these four. As we develop and we have other requests, those may be added to. And if you have something that you would like to see or within your community would like to have us make a presentation again, please let us know. Through Steve's email is right there, and he's very, very attainable on his telephone as well. He works a lot of hours at this and has his heart and soul into it. So don't be afraid to ask for something. We'll try to accommodate that.
Christine?
Yes, sir.
We got a few more questions. So let's go back into the question mode just for a moment.
Okay, great.
And thank you for all of that. One question is, it looks like the Nebula Tower has dining space at the top and also possibly at the bottom. Can you confirm this? And also say if the other two have these amenities. Between the three of them, there are various viewing and dining and drinking amenities. But what I'll tell you is, and this is an important reminder that I probably didn't clearly state earlier, that as soon as the winning design is selected, our team, which is Christine, me, John, and our numerous technical advisors we have who have been immensely helpful to us, and the winning team will become one team. At this point, we're not part of any of the three teams because they're still competing to win. But once we have a winner, we will be in the wonderful position of being able to share all of our ideas that we have for their design and help them improve it. So the reason I bring that up now is that dining and drinking and viewing are really important to us. And how they'll get integrated into the winning design, we can't say yet, but we can tell you with certainty that we want that to happen. When John, Christine, and I began this, we've always had this view of having a beer or a glass of wine up on the top and looking around. It would be such a wasted opportunity not to do that, that once we get into the next phase, we will certainly be working on that. So I hope that answers that question. Next question, will the public have a chance to vote on the finalist in an advisory capacity? We are not going to have a formal vote in the sense that the winner of the most votes would win the competition, but really the voting is happening right now with you participating here, and in particular in sharing comments which are shared with the public on our website. We've just updated the website recently, and all of the Q&A from this meeting and the other meetings and any comments people make on our website will all be shared so you can all communicate with one another. So ultimately, the jury will make a recommendation. The jury will be given all of your comments, and they will be factors in the jury's deliberations. As Jody mentioned earlier, as a juror, that she's going to pay very close attention to any comments that you have. You can probably tell from the siren that I'm in downtown right now, and that's true that I am. And so there won't be a formal vote, but your wisdom and comments and opinions are really critical to all of us. My old friend Jose Posada says, thank you for dreaming big. Let me let Christine speak to that briefly.
Well, again, thank you, Jose. A couple things there about dreaming big. Again, Steve and I mentioned that we've lived downtown for 35 to 50 years, and we've dreamed of something like this for a long, long time. Now that we are in this time of our life, my husband and I, Steve and his family, and it's time, the Valley has been good to us, and we want to give back. And part of this is helping create something big. And if you saw our competition brief, it was think big. And something to give back to our children, but to give to the city, to be able to give to Silicon Valley and give to the world about who we are from the time of our ancestors all the way to who we are today. And another thing about being big is John Ball, the leader, the man that really kind of got this started, him and his wife, Paula, is used for a 40-year career of building things big, okay? I mean, really big things, the airport, places all the way around the world. And so he's got that knowledge. He also has the contacts and has the right, people around him, including, faith and God and people in San Jose, relationships around the world. And this truly is a global project, as you can see by the submissions and the teams that the submissions have brought together. Very impressed with what they did from the time of, we'll see, when was it, Steve? August, when we had the three winners, until January 18th, when they delivered their phase 2 refinements. very impressive teams that they pull together. So in my opinion, there's 3 winners here. One of them will get built, hopefully, very, very soon, like Steve said, within the next 3 years. And we are dreaming big. And thank you, Jose. We need more big dreamers to get on the bandwagon with us.
You know, another nice comment to, as we near the end, is an anonymous attendee said, just wanted to say, great job. By the way, we like pats on the back too, so thank you, feels great. Finally, people thinking about San Jose in a positive, forward-thinking light. And then he or she mentions their favorite design, which you can see. But I just want to say that we are very optimistic about our city, and we want to be part of the next positive solution. We're in a very difficult time right now with COVID that I don't have to explain to any of you. But when we all come out of this, we want this to be an awakening, a new time with better experiences downtown, hopefully throughout the world. But this is our part of the world, and we're trying to do something really meaningful for our children and their children and people in our city and around the world to come. Christine talks a lot about wanting to have a place where when people are going on vacation from Spain or China, that they think, I'm going to Silicon Valley. I want to see that landmark. And yeah, that's part of our goal, to really change the whole dynamic of the way people look at our community.
Yeah, to add to that, the pride of the citizens here of San Jose and Silicon Valley have also been and nurtured so many of the other icons around the world. And I think that there's a thirst to see something that's right here in Silicon Valley, which are also leaders of the world. Sean O'Kane, who's also, he just made a comment here, been a great partner and done so much for us in this project. But to emphasize that this is a gift, okay? And the money is not coming from the city of San Jose. City of San Jose has been a great partner for us. And of course that takes, you have to have that sort of a partner, but it is gonna be private money that will fund this. And we will start, of course, a capital campaign in the next phase. It's a legacy for us. Let me just add that, it's a legacy for our generation and the generations to come.
One of the last comments is about one's favorite design, and there's a lot of passion around the 3 designs. Christine and I know this more than anyone because we see all the comments and talk to the community all the time. And so again, we're glad we have 3 strong designs. Some people love all 3, some love a couple and hate one of them. And that's the way art and architecture are. We know that. The jury has a difficult job, but all the work we're doing right now is to inform them and give them what they need to make a responsible decision that is sensitive to what we as the citizens of the city and of the region think. With that, I'll say thank you very much. I'll point out that I'm available all the time, as Christine said. Don't be shy. You can email me, you can call me. And with that, I'll turn it over to Christine to wrap up.
I'll wrap up with simply some of my favorite words, okay? You've heard them before, and you'll hear them many more times throughout this project. At the confluence of 2 rivers lies the site of the world's next iconic landmark. And we ask the question, what will it be? In the Valley of Opportunities, an icon awaits. We cannot wait. I want to wish you all a great and safe weekend. Happy Valentine's. Enjoy it with a lot of love. Happy weekend. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Mike.